Hi everyone, this is Stephanie, and today I'm going to show you how to use our Clover backdrop. Okay, we're going to start by opening our Clover field backdrop, and then I'm going to open up the picture of my subject and just drag it and drop it over top of the image, and then click the check mark. When you are shooting your subject, I suggest that you shoot them on grass because it'll make it easier to blend them into the photo. Preferably not grass that's sticking up around their arms or their shirt, because that will be harder to clone out and blend in later. So something that's nice and short, even something like AstroTurf would be fine. But yeah, find a short patch of grass and a nice cloudy day, or at the very least a shady patch of grass, so that you have nice even soft lighting over their face. Okay, so now once you have them in here, we're just going to do a quick selection this time. So you can click W on your keyboard. If you're not seeing this quick selection tool, you may be seeing these other ones, object selection or magic wand tool. If that is there instead, you just right click on it to get to this option. So quick selection, and we're just going to go inside of our subject and drag all the way around. Get his hair and his arms. There we go. And then come up here to select and mask. Alright, so we'll drag it around the hair. And then come down here to output to, and we're going to click layer mask. Click OK. And there you go. We're halfway done, guys. So I'm going to center him kind of where I want it at. Okay, so now that we have him cut out of his background, I am going to clean up the mask a little bit. So if you grab a brush, you can paint right here on the mask. Black will hide and white will make it visible. So right here we're going to use black. I'm going to hide my background layer for just a second because I noticed it came over here and grabbed some of the grass from his backdrop, and I'm just going to try to get that off, and then I'm going to turn it back on. Now I see there's a little bit here right next to his arm, so I'm going to... Alright, so I'm just using a soft round brush. You can hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and right click with your mouse, and if you drag right or left, it'll make it bigger or smaller. Up and down makes it hard or soft. So that's what we're going to do, a hardness of 0, and I'm just going to go a little bit around his hair, and then some of the hair I kind of want back up here. It took a bit too much off, so I'm going to just paint back on a little bit right here. Okay, so now I'm going to put him in a group. So I'm going to grab this folder down here on the bottom, click on that, and then just drag him into it, and I'm going to create a mask over the group. So click on the group, come down here and click on the mask button, and now the group has its own mask, so we can draw on here. I'll grab a black brush again, and we can, oh, it didn't work, black, and we can draw here, and it doesn't, it's like a second mask for the layer, so it doesn't affect the mask that we did around him. And the reason I'm doing that is so that we can kind of make some of these clovers around him pop up around his arms or his shirt, so it looks like he's really laying in the field. And so I'm going to bring the opacity for his layer down somewhat so I can see the clovers underneath. So there we go, about 60. And then at this time you might want to position your guy or girl in a way where some of these clovers are just barely overlapping, so it'll be more believable, just a bit easier. So I think I'm going to go... I do this differently, not like every time. I think maybe just a little bit to the left here. I think maybe I want to make him a bit smaller even. Oop. Oh yeah, I like that. So I'm going to bring this one over here by his arm, up over his arm, I think maybe this little one right over his head. You know what, I might make him just a bit bigger. Bring this one over his hair. And then, let's see, we've got this one over here on this arm we can bring up. And maybe this one over his shirt. So I'm going to go ahead, I like the placement there, I'm going to click the check mark to apply it. And now we're going to get started on the mask. So for this, I'm going to zoom in nice and tight. And I'm going to grab a brush, make sure it's set to black. And then I'm going to make the hardness pretty hard. Maybe, I don't know, 40%. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a little bit more actually. 80%. I'm trying to match the edge of the clover and how blurred or soft it is with my brush. There you go. You can just paint. I'm just clicking undo. If I go too far over the edge, I just click undo. You can paint back with white as well. But I find it faster and easier just to undo and paint again. Alright, we're going to go up here and get this one that's over his head, right in his hair. Oh, I'm tempted to do this one too, I think, because it's barely got any hair in it. Alright, and then maybe this one right here. You can do as many or as few of these as you want. You don't have to do this at all if you don't want to take the time. I'm sure it'll look fine, even if you don't. I don't know, maybe this one. Now the nice thing about doing this while it's in a group, instead of the actual mask over the boy, is that if for some reason you don't like any one of these, you can easily get rid of it without affecting that original mask over the boy, or around the boy. So let's bring this opacity back to 100% so we can see it. Yeah, so I don't really like this one down here on the bottom. It looks a little off to me. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my brush to white and just paint over it to get rid of it. And that looks pretty good to me. Might want to put one over here on the right. Maybe we'll try this one right here. So we'll go back with black. And when you're doing this, you want to stay within the edge of the leaf. You don't really want to see an outline around the leaf. So I kind of just stay a little bit within it. Oh, that looks so much better. Okay, so now we're going to add some shadows under these clovers. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer right above our boy. So we're going to click New Layer. I'm going to right click on the layer and select Create Clipping Mask so that it's clipped to the boy. And then I'm going to go up here to the blend mode and switch it from normal to multiply. Now I'm going to grab a brush, so B for brush, hold down Alt on your keyboard, and then you can click a color from the shadow on his skin somewhere. So, you know, there's the shadow right here under his arm, or I'm going to grab it right here next to his cheek. So just find a place that's a little bit darker, and then you can use that to paint shadows wherever you like. I'm going to start with 50% opacity on this brush. So if you come up here to the brush, opacity, you can just type in 50 up here. And then you just kind of start painting. I don't have like a set way I do this. I just kind of paint and see what looks good. I start nice and soft. So hold down Alt on my keyboard, bring the hardness up on the brush to 0, and do a nice big brush. And you know, you just want it to be a little bit darker right under the leaves. We'll come over here. This one's touching him, so it should be a nice hard line right underneath of him. Hold down Alt, bring your hardness down, maybe to 40%. And that way it'll give us a nice hard line. And then I'm going to make it bigger and bring the hardness up to 0 and just kind of paint a little bit there. How's that look? I like it. I think it looks good. Up here under this one, since it's right in the hair, you're not really going to see much of a difference, but we'll do a little bit there. And then, what else do we have? Oh, down here by his shirt. For this, I'm going to sample some shadow on his shirt instead of on his skin. So, over here, maybe this area of his shirt. Okay, so now that we have that done, we are almost there, guys. I'm going to create one more layer right above the background, but underneath the boy. And then I'm going to grab a brush. I'm going to make it nice and soft, 0% hardness. And I'm going to sample a color, a darker green from the backdrop. So maybe, I don't know, this leaf over here looks nice. I'm going to keep my brush at 50% opacity. Oh, and I'm going to change blend mode to multiply. And we're just going to create a nice shadow right in the middle of the backdrop, right underneath the boy. I'm actually going to bring the opacity of my brush down a little bit more, maybe to 20%. Oops, 20. And do just a little bit more right there. If you want to kind of blend them in just a little bit more, you can add one more layer at the very top. And I'm going to clip this just like before. I'm going to right click, create clipping mask, so it'll clip to the boy as well. And then I'm just going to hold down Alt and sample another color from his skin. And I'm just going to paint a little bit, maybe back up to 50. Oh, select multiply on your blend mode. Yeah, and I'm just going to paint a little bit more, kind of right on the sides of him. Let's sample another one from in his shirt. That's it, guys. We're all done. If you have any questions or if you're having any problems, please send me a message and let me know. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye!